Attention to brief. Welcome to the briefing room, a show by warriors for warriors. No matter your occupation in life, if you endeavor to be a pioneer, the first, or simply what we all aspire to be, which is the best, this show is for you. My name is Matt Bowman. Once again, I'm a veteran, I'm a farmer, I'm a winery owner, and this show is brought to you to highlight the best and the world-class people in our space today. The title of our show today, I'm calling Full Throttle. I'm bringing to you an 80-year-old warrior. He's a Naval Aviation legend, a man who we like to affectionately call the OG. It's going to be a great show. Let me show you a little bit about Commander Lynn Walton, U.S. Navy retired. Born and raised in Norfolk, Virginia, as a small child, he came from a family that had a distinguished history. If you are from the Tidewater area, you know about the Walton family. They were educators, they were teachers, they were pastors, they were entrepreneurs. He played sports as an athlete. He developed physical skills, traits that lasted him all the way to this day. But he was more than an athlete. He was also a scholar. When Lynn came and joined the United States Navy, he had a dream and an ambition to fly airplanes. And that's what he did. So from a child in Hampton Roads, and you can see the picture there, to the United States Navy, to designing simulators and training young aviators in simulators, Commander Walton set the example. He became a naval officer, and as you know, next to being a professional athlete, being a naval aviator is the next best thing. So he went to wars, he's been in combat, he's been in rescue operations, and he's been at sea. A lifelong athlete, he is a legend in the rugby community. He's on the cover of Sports Illustrated. And even now, as an 80-year-old warrior, he still is at the peak of physical excellence and physical performance. This is the show today. Commander Lynn Walton would not be where he is without his family, without strong support, and being the man that he is. So with no further ado, I'm going to bring to you Commander Lynn O.G. Walton.
Thanks, Matt.
Welcome, Lynn, welcome. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the briefing room.
Thank you. A pleasure.
Listen, Lynn, we're going to dial it back. I mean, you know, like I say, you're the OG, but we want to go all the way back to the beginning. I want you to tell us about this picture. Tell us about your family. Tell us about what it was like growing up in Hampton Roads.
Well, thanks, Matt. And I feel like I'm really blessed to be here. I come from a family of educators, of contributors to our communities, from pre-slavery, actually from the beginning in this country. So I'll start with my parents, with my family, my siblings, and then go back a bit. I'm the seventh of eight, born in Norfolk, Virginia.
Big family.
Yeah, well, small in relations to my mom and my dad. My dad was the 12th of 13, and my mom was the 4th of 12. Okay. So it's all relative. But I grew up in Norfolk. I'm the seventh of eight, and my parents were fully engaged in not only our church, our community, and education was key. There were four things in my family. But that photo you showed of me and my siblings was in 1987 at Hampton University, and they do a Black Family Week each year. And they recognized my family, even though neither of my parents had attended Hampton. My mom got her education along the way and got her degree after I graduated from college. I'm 7, my youngest sister.
Lynn, let's pull that picture up. Production, pull that picture up, or the family picture. I want the audience to see it. There you go, right
Okay.
there.
So if you go, so my mom and dad, and that plaque my father's hand is holding, um, was for us being recognized as a Black Family of the Year. And it was a 1 week program, and the keynote speaker, by the way, the keynote speaker didn't show up, and so my mom said to me, Linwood, we need a keynote speaker for the evening, affair. And I went, Mom, what do you have in mind? She said, well, we need you.
That's it. Be ye ready. Be ye ready. Always.
Ever ready, right? My mom was like a den mother. She amazing lady. She was the president of NAACP twice in Virginia Beach. She was the first African American woman to attend the Democratic National Convention back in New York. She was on the Virginia Beach Housing Commission for 16 years. And at 84, she said that she needed to do something else. So there were other avenues for her to explore. Whenever one of us African American aviators went to Oceana or NAS Norfolk and they had issues with housing, I'd have them contact my mom, and away it went. My father, 12th of 13, walked from what's now in Virginia Beach is something near the Norfolk Airport to Booker T. My high school is about 2.5, 3 miles. Some nights he stayed with one of his sisters. They married in 1930, and the 8 of us. But my mom's family, my mom's mom finished college in 1906, Norfolk Mission College. She was a teacher. My
This
grandfather,
would have
her
been your
father finished.
grandmother?
My grandmother,
Okay. All right.
right? My grandfather finished St. Paul's College in Lawrenceville, Virginia, in 1904. He was a divinity major. My mother's grandmother, so my mother's mother, right, finished college in 1863 in Oneida, Buffalo, New York.
Wait a minute. Lynn, 1863, we're talking
Yeah,
before the end of chattel slavery in this country.
right. So she
That's
finished college in 1863, and her husband finished college in 18. I'm sorry, and her sister finished college in 1864. And in
wow.
1865, they were recruited by the federal government to come to the South. They came to Virginia to teach the freed slaves. But when my great grandmother was teaching, and she started in 1865, one of her students was named Firby Cuffey, Firby Cuffey.
Okay.
Cuffey's of South Norfolk, Virginia. And he had been wounded. He was in the 11th Colored Cavalry along with his two brothers. Well, actually, he was in the 1st Colored Cavalry, and his two brothers in the 11th, and then his cousins were also in the 11th Colored Cavalry out in Texas, and they were Buffalo soldiers. Okay,
Wow. So Lynn,
my
we have educated up north,
yeah,
Buffalo soldiers. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. This is incredible.
no, I can show you document. I sent some other documentation showing. Hold on a sec. Just let me pull this up. I, I
And
thought.
Lynn, as you look for that, when we talk about excellence and family excellence and multi-generational, this is clear examples of how each generation lays the groundwork for the next.
Yeah. So let me show you. I sent photos of this. This is the right here. This book, okay,
Wow.
is Afro American Union Army and Navy Patriots from the Tidewater area, 1862 to 1866. Okay, this book is written by what's his name, Curtis Alexander, doctorate degree, and I have it pages ticked because you see the yellow ticks on the side, possibly, and it shows the documentation from all my great grandfather there.
Wow, Lynn, that's
Okay,
incredible.
and then this
Production,
other
zoom
book.
in on that. Let's zoom in on that. Let's focus in on Lynn. And Lynn, tell us all about that book.
Okay, so this book, let me put my glasses on being an OG here. This book goes back, hold on. So this is, hold on. This is Marshall Land.
And they're going to zoom in on you. They're going to take me off screen. I'll be in the background.
Okay, so this, for example, is, hold on. Okay, get the right page. Got a tick here. So this goes to, hold on. Okay, William Cuffey, Lee Manuel Cuffey. Okay, so let me have them zoom in. I don't know if you can see at the bottom. That's Ferby Cuffey. Okay, that's my great grandfather. He was in the First Colored Cavalry, and he was a private. And actually, he was wounded in the war. You'll see some other Emerson Cuffey up here by my finger there. So it has all the documentation. This is in Washington in the African American Museum there. This is Marshall Land. He was one of the first, he was the first African American delegate to the Virginia House of Delegates. He married my great grandmother's sister, both the teachers who came to Virginia back in the day. And he was a pioneer, legislator, and landowner in Virginia Beach. This next book I have here, it's entitled "The Women of Cuffytown, 1800 to 2002." All right, and there's a particular article here that I want you to see is of my grandmother. So this is my grandmother, okay, and you see the list of people there. Those are her children. She and my grandfather. I want to read a line here. It says, Corrine and her husband Luke received the dubious honor of being recognized by the United States government for having 6 sons served in the military during World War II. Okay? So all 6 of my mom's brothers served in World War II, right?
So,
So,
so then, Lynn, you were
yeah,
now talking service. When you look at this 250 years of this republic,
yeah,
you're going all the way back to the beginning. We're talking uniform service in the Civil War, in every conflict essentially that this country has had.
yeah,
Families like yours who have served and continue to serve.
yeah.
What a story!
My great grandfather, Ferby Cuffey's father, served in the War of 1812. Okay. They came from Cape Verde. They were fishermen coming into Massachusetts and migrated down to Maryland and Virginia. Okay. So the Cuffeys, that's okay.
That
So
is incredible, Lynn. That is
yeah.
absolutely incredible, sir.
So when you look at my 2 brothers, my oldest brother, Sonny, Joseph Jr., served in the army and he was in Korea, in the Korea. He finished high school in 1948. All right. Then my brother Roland was a Marine. He finished A&T and served in Lebanon in the Corps. Then he got out and he taught and then became um, assistant principal of a school. The irony of this was all my sisters are educators. Okay. Assistant superintendent of schools, Howard County, Maryland, up in Columbia. Another one was my older sister was the head of she was elementary education, but she came the head of technology director for the city of Norfolk schools. Gwen is probably one of the smartest people I've ever known. Seriously. And then my twin sisters, born December 7th, 1940, a year before the war. They both were educators, and my youngest sister was a speech therapist. Okay. So, and then me, we didn't have ROTC at Norfolk State, but I met this admiral. I was serving bar for him. My dad did that at night. And so He says to me, my father, by the way, worked at the Cavalier Hotel. It's a storied hotel in Virginia Beach. It's the Hotel Del of Virginia Beach. And when my father worked there when it opened in 1927, he was 17. And he met a guy, this family, wealthy family from Norfolk, would come down to their cottages during the summer. And my father and Josh Darden became friends in 1927. Okay. Right. Well, my parents married in 1930.
Lynn,
Yeah.
the Dardens, the Virginia Dardens.
Listen to this.
That's crazy.
Listen to this, Matt. So what happened is in 1930, right in America, right?
Mm-hmm.
Great Depression. So my dad asked Josh if he could help my dad to get a federal job in 1930. So Josh said, look, let me have you talk to my brother Colgate because he just got elected to the Virginia House of Delegates. So my dad meets Colgate and Colgate hooks him up. Back in the day, we had public health hospitals in Virginia, in the US. In Norfolk, it was something called the Marine Hospital, which is a campus where Navy Region Middle Atlantic is located now. That was the public health hospital. And my father worked in Central Supply, delivering the equipment to the emergency rooms, blah, 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 the operating rooms, etc. during the day. And at night, Josh's brother, Colgate Garden, okay, who hooked my dad up, had this federal job with healthcare, a dental, a retirement. My dad got one of my mother's brothers their job also. So what happened went along, and my dad then started serving parties for these, officials.
Right. I mean, these big time people,
Right. Colgate then got elected to the House of Representatives 3 times. Right. And so now my father's doing stuff with members of Congress. Then Colgate gets elected to be the governor of Virginia. All right.
The governor, Lynn.
Yeah. And so now they own car dealerships also in Norfolk on not military, Virginia Beach Boulevard. They had them, and so my older brothers were born in 1932 and 34. I was born in 46, so they're much older than us. Every 2 years, and then after the war, I was born. So what happened is, Matt, it's amazing. God works in mysterious ways.
God is great.
So Colgate then becomes the governor of Virginia, right? And by the way, it's another story, but he helped a guy named Jim, who started a conservative movement, had an incubator, James Buchanan. He set Buchanan up because Colgate then became the president of UVA.
The president of University of Virginia?
Yeah, i.e. the UVA Darden School of Business.
Wow, Lynn. So Lynn, for our audience who are listening, I mean, the steps that you just laid out, the intentional, multi-generational approach to excellence is what is required. So with that, Colgate Darden, president of University of Virginia, we're going to go to a commercial break.
Yeah.
We're going to go to our 40th annual BEA commercial break, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to go from Colgate Darden, governor of Virginia, president of UVA, mentor and friend to your father, and then we're going to jump right into your story, the Navy, all the things you've done, and then Lynn, also when we come back, I want you to show them what 80 years of warrior excellence looks like. So we'll do a 360 so we can see you. All right, let's go to commercial.
It's the moment in your eyes when the future becomes clear.
40 years ago, a vision was born. To break barriers, to celebrate brilliance.
The hopes of what's in reach.
From pioneers to innovators to tomorrow's dreamers, Baya has changed the landscape of STEM forever. Great minds, great people, great futures. Join us for Baya 40. Don't just watch history, be part of it. Baya, becoming everything you are.
Become everything you are.
Welcome back to the briefing room. Matt Bowman here with the OG of Naval Aviation, Commander Walton. And when we ended with his family history and how his parents and his grandparents served our country. So, this is a show by Warriors for Warriors, and you don't get any better than the Walton family and the things that they have done. But, Lynn, yeah, I think you turn 80 in January.
Yes.
So, give the people a 360. Lynn is an athlete. Lynn, do you work out? How many push-ups you did this morning?
Asking Matt, I was like, I'm delaying my workout this morning because I had to be really prepared for this, So I got up, I woke up, I said, Jay, I gotta get rolling here. Because I got it, my office was askew and I'm going in and putting stuff. So I had to make sure that it look presentable, as my mom would say.
That's right.
So I normally do 91 push-ups, 91
Wait,
sit-ups.
91 push-ups?
Yeah, it's a comfortable number, one to grow on,
Room to grow.
I do 90 and one to grow on. But that's what I do. Then I do, my yoga stuff, right? Got my flip-flops on, right? So
What, Lynn? A warrior. That's warrior. That's lifetime warrior.
The yoga is good for me. The stretching, and then with boogie board, I got my winter suit, 2 winter suits, and one summer. And I body surf, ride my bike in the community. Kids like me, so man. The little kids, they say, "Can we go ride the bubble?" Yeah, so we just ride up and down the foothills here around where I live. So yeah, it's good. So what happened, Matt, right quick, is the Darden family, we became really connected. And in 1972, when I was in Denver, my dad called me and asked me if I was interested in owning car dealerships, because General Motors was setting up this car dealerships thing. And well, Josh Jr., all right, so Josh Darden, my dad, Josh Jr., my brother Roland became really tight friends. They went sailing together. Roland ran for the city treasurer in Norfolk. The Democrats wouldn't support him, but the Dardens, who were Democrats, did. Okay. And so they started this dealerships thing. And my dad called me. My oldest brother, Sonny Joseph Jr., has the oldest Black mortuary, funeral home in Tidewater. Okay. And my nephew runs it now. My brother passed away. Roland was assistant principal of a technical trade school, and he and Myrna, they both had their masters. The state of Virginia, my 5 sisters, the state of Virginia wouldn't allow us to go to UVA, William and Mary, etc. Right? Virginia Tech. But they paid our teachers to go to any university in the country, and they would pay for it, the state. So like my sisters have their masters from Michigan, Indiana, Columbia, blah, 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 right? All my high school teachers.
And is that something, for the audience, when you talk about the Jim Crow South, they listen, rather pay than have you stay is what they used to say. We'd rather pay you go out of state than have you stay and inspire people here in the state of whatever.
Oh, absolutely. For example, my high school yearbook, I have it. My class of 62, man, we got some of the judges in my class, all Black high school, Booker T. The teachers were amazing. They kept us, we were after school for trigonometry, advanced calculus, that kind of thing. Because I majored in physics, right? And me and Jimmy's a Court of Appeals judge, Jimmy Benton, James W. Benton, and then Robert Lee. We all grew up playing ball together as kids. Robert Lee, we were physics guys. He was a wrestler at Booker T, Norfolk State. We finished in 66. His daughter wrote Hidden Figures. Okay.
Okay.
He went to work over at NASA. They accepted us first time internships at the end of my sophomore year, and 5 of us, but I didn't apply. Dr. Woods wanted to know why. And I told him, Doc, I can't live in Virginia.
Yeah, no, it's tough.
I knew it then, right? I
Mhm.
couldn't live there because my parents know I'm not the one that you spit on, send a dog out there. And and I go like tacitly, right? It's okay, not me. So,
That's not you. That's not you at all.
but anyway, so the bottom line is we went to school working, my sisters doing the summers for the Dartons and the Savages and on, right? These families. And my father knew the superintendent of schools, everybody. So my sisters didn't have any problem with jobs. But I was serving Bob. My father called me October 65. I'm a senior. I'm 19. Okay. I finished born in 46. I graduated in 1966. So next year is my diamond and graduation at Norfolk State. We're having a thing, right?
Wow.
And I went to serve Bob for this Admiral Wheatley, and a guy named Dick Williams. You know Captain Dick Williams? You know Dick?
No, no, sir.
Yeah. Dick was lieutenant commander. He with Florida A&M. He's from
Okay.
yeah. He's from Tallahassee. I mean, not Tallahassee, Jacksonville, like Andy, right? He's in
Right.
Jacksonville.
Right.
And so this guy looked at me and said, "You look mighty young. What do you do?" And I said, "Well, I'm in college," because he was trying to ask if I was 21. Because my father had 2 functions: that a dinner party, which is more involved, and a cocktail party was easy. He said, "What do you do?" I said, "I'm in college." He said, "Oh, where?" I said, "Norfolk State." He said, "What year?" A senior. And you can see the look on his face because I knew he was trying to ask me. And he said, "What are you majoring in?" I said, "Physics." And he said, looked at me and he said, "Have you ever thought about flying for the Navy?" Now, this is 1965
Mm.
in Norfolk, Virginia, when we came drink out of the same water fountain, right? So I said, "No, sir, I never thought about it."
Right. That's crazy.
I live between NAS. I live like 2 miles from Oceana, the beach, and NAS Norfolk. I'd never seen, a black Navy pilot, right?
Even in Oceana.
No, I mean, I didn't go to Oceana. We couldn't go to the beach, for example, in Virginia Beach when I grew up.
Mm-hmm.
I just read about somebody. Oh, this guy named Curtis Strange, golfer.
Mm-hmm.
His daddy was the pro at the Bow Creek Golf and Country Club, which I could walk to. It's like go across the street, cut through the woods, and I was there. Went to Princess Anne High School. I drove past that every day going to Booker T in Norfolk every day. So he asked me, ever thought about flying for the Navy? And I said, "No, sir." And he asked me if I was interested. I said, "Yes, sir." And then a week he sent Dick. When he said, "I haven't a pilot on my on my staff, I have sent him over." Dick called me. He was lieutenant commander. Talked to me. The next weekend, I took the exam. That Saturday, got into my brother's house at 4 in the morning because he lived near NAS Norfolk, right? And he was a Marine, and he just, "What the is wrong with you?" I go, "Man, I need a couple hours of sleep. I got an exam at 8."
Wow.
And that's took the exam, came back. He said, "Did you pass?" I said, "Yeah, it's just a freaking exam, man."
Len, I mean, you say it was just an exam, but there are many of us who've taken the aviation aptitude test.
Oh yeah.
It is more than a notion for the audience. There are people who are online and in Air Warriors and other forums that spend
Yeah.
2 years studying for that exam. So that is incredible. Testament to the teachers at Booker T. Washington.
Oh,
Testament to your
absolutely.
parents, and testament to Norfolk State. I mean, shout out to
Yeah.
Norfolk State for preparing you to be able to take a test on the spot, 8 in the morning. That's
After being out party with
I was going listen. I was going to tell
Bobby,
the audience where
Bobby
were you,
Dameron.
Lynn, that
Yeah.
you got in at 4 in the morning. But we're gonna leave that for another day.
So anyway, I didn't pass the physical. He said I had high blood pressure. He said you had coffee. He said, "You had anything to drink?" This is a flight surgeon. "Yes, sir." He said, You're gonna be okay as an aviator. But anyway, so that's how I got in the Navy. And it's, went to Pensacola, finished Norfolk State.
Mhm.
Dr. Woods, Doc, man, the people there, you got Woods Hall, you got Scott Hall, Miss Scott. My mom used to work with her after our youngest, two youngest, I got out of the house. And Scott Dozier Hall, Walton, you hungry? Yes, ma'am. She's a cafeteria building. Yes, ma'am. Right. She fixed Walton a plate. Murphy fixed Walton a plate. So it's one of the reasons why that and my parents giving so much. I mean, my parents lived debt free and tied to the church. Right? That 8 kids through college.
8 kids through college, debt free. When you talk about faith, family, and excellence,
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
My grandparents have 19 grandkids. Okay. All college graduates. One is player personnel for the Eagles. One is a Washington Lawyer of the Year for 2023. Another is OBGYN Virginia Beach. Two Naval captains, Naval Academy graduates, my son and my nephew in the class of 96 at the Academy. I mean, just you name it. My parents' great grandkids, BU professor, U.S. bobsled team, another U.S. bobsled. She's in Miami, Shelby Walton. She's a corporate lawyer and
He's in Miami. I have to go check. I'll go
Shelby
down.
Walton. You look her up. That's my granny, man. Her dad's a BMW dealer. That's my brother then owned car. The three of us I was going to mention. My oldest brother is a mortician.
Mhm.
Roland was a car big teacher, assistant principal, became a car dealer. The Darden family in '72, General Motors wanted to have more minority dealers. So my dad asked me, and I was in Denver, and my father said, "Get your 20," because when I was doing these cocktail parties, dinner parties, I met all these generals and admirals, and my dad said, "You just watch what they do and listen." And I learned a lot.
Watch and listen.
I learned a lot. I learned how stuff is done.
All right.
Don't tell me about it.
Tell
Yeah.
our audience 3 nuggets that you learned from watching and listening.
Well, number one, I learned that, kind of like keep your head down and work and do the best you can. Because some of their children were good kids and good students, but they had the hookup of their parent or their parent's friend or whatever calling a UVA president and got him in. So I learned that, the stuff I really learned at home, I would say this to you. One, work hard. Okay. And my mom would say, but work smart. Number two, play fair. When you cut corners and cheat, you're cheating yourself. Right. Number three, think outside the box. Think globally. Think strategically. Right. Number four, no excuses.
No excuses.
Figure out how to
That
get it done.
extreme accountability that comes from, I mean, everyone says, it comes from, naval aviation, it comes from special forces, special warfare. But as you said, it also comes from home.
So my family, and that there's an article that goes with that photo that was in the front page of Virginia Pilot newspaper, Norfolk paper. And they asked my parents, how do you get all these kids out? How do they get 8 kids out of college? All HBCUs. My 7, my older brother went to college up in New York for embalming after he got out of the Army, mortician school. All 19 grandkids, all of the great grandkids. My granddaughter is finishing Spelman this month. Okay, her brother, that generation. So my parents had 4 things. Number one, old time religion. Number 2, education is key. Right. Number 3 is sticking together. Right. And number 4 is giving back, contributing to where we are, leaving the world a little better. have this right here that I keep, man. And this is, I'll just read a couple lines from it. And this is from Ralph Waldo Emerson. And it's to laugh often and to win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics, to endure, the betrayal of false friends, to find the best in others. And it goes on and it says to leave the world a little better because of a garden spot or a child or someone that you've helped. And so in my mind, it's one at a time. If all of us adults helped one, just one,
Just help one.
just have one.
Lynn, each one, reach one. We're going to go
Absolutely.
to a commercial. And when we come back, we're going to get some more leadership nuggets from Commander Lynn Walton, the OG, the ageless warrior.
Calling all future STEM pioneers, leaders, and career champions. Join us on every second Saturday of the month for the BEA Career Day. BEA STEM Career Day is all about creating opportunities for students to venture into the world of STEM through the eyes of professionals. You'll meet mentors and presenters that will give you a sneak peek into the many options available to you in the field of STEM. Hosted by teen ambassadors, you'll find yourself among inspiring peers just like yourself that are aiming high for their future. To take part in the BEA STEM Career Day on Zoom, visit fullstemahead.us and register for the next session. Again, that's fullstemahead.us. BEA, becoming everything you are.
A world of careers unleashed. You can get it at BEA. Become everything you are.
All right. Welcome back to the briefing room. I'm your host, Matt Bowman, and I'm here with the OG of Naval Aviation, Commander Lynn Walton. Commander Walton, Lynn, we just got done talking about your life, your family, the journey, and what it took to create a Lynn Walton. But as I'm looking at you, mentorship and your legacy of arguably creating more aviators than anyone else in naval aviation, whether that's in 13XXs. So tell us a little bit about the hat, the ball cap that's on your head. Tell us a little bit about the vest that you wear and the mentees that you've had a chance to lead and guide. And I'm one of them, right? I'm just going to be fully transparent.
Absolutely, Matt.
All right.
Absolutely. Wow. Winning in the Navy, Pensacola, none of us could go to the bars, the restaurants, hotels, could get apartments, etc. But I can tell you, the first example of this thing about the stuff my parents talked about is my first check flight. This guy comes into the ready room and says, "Walton, you don't know me." You brief and deep Southern accent. This is at Softly Field, which is now a hospital and whatnot, and flying T-34s, Bravos. And he says, we normally brief, we brief the weather, what you're going to do, and the questions, deep Southern accent. He says to me, "You got any questions?" And "No, sir." I mean, I was a bit taken aback because normally we just brief. He says, "Get out to the airplane." Wow. So I go out and I had the plane captain to get some oil and because he needed some. He comes out, "You don't have this GD airplane ready? Get in the fucking airplane." Wow. I get in and we go flying. And there was a place called Barron Field where we used to do CQ for FCLP, field carrier landing practice stuff. And we're over there flying and he's swearing. And then he called me the N-word. Right. And I had enough from, getting the airplane.
Right.
And so I just put my hands up, that means he's got it, right? You got the aircraft.
Mm-hmm.
And we came down and no debrief and 9 below averages. I don't know if it was that way when you went through. you get a above average, average, below average. I had about, average about three or four average above my typical flight. And I'm like really upset. And so I called my mom and dad that night. Oh, by the way, he gave me 8 below averages. Because if you get 9 below average, right, you get you get an unsat flight
Right.
and two reflies.
That's right.
So he just wanted to hurt my flight grade, and I couldn't do anything. So I called my parents, and told them what happened. So my mom, I'm in tears, and it's May of 1967. I turned 21 when I was in AOCS, uh, January of 67. I commissioned on the 9th February. And so my mom says, well, so I told her about the flight and what happened. So she says, so, my dad's got one phone, my mom the other, right? The old black phone, right?
Right.
And I said, well, I'm going to this next base, Whiting Field. And I told her what happened. So she says to me, what does him calling you a nigger have to do with you becoming a Navy pilot? And, I wasn't expecting that from my mom. I mean, so I said, well, nothing. And my mom says, quote, again, quote, your father and I want you to focus on the things you can do and you can control, not those you can't. Right.
That's wisdom.
And wow. And the next day I saw my flight instructor, Lieutenant Dave Koshay, Kosay. I remember the day. He was a super dude, man, super guy. And he says, Walton, what happened on your flight? I said, sir, I don't want to talk about it. Right. He said, I don't know. I said, Lieutenant, sir, I'd rather not talk about it. Right. Kind of like, what good would it have done? You know what I mean? So went on to Whiting, and I didn't play on the football team. A guy named Roger Staubach. We used to play basketball together in the gym. Really good athlete, right? And we had this football team called the Goshawks. And I'm thinking, man, I can't play on these guys because, I got to get through here, right?
Right. Right.
I didn't know, Matt, that these guys had to hook up. We're talking, guys, they play Southeast, Louisiana, regular 11-man football, they play these colleges. They had to hook up, but there were so few of us, you didn't know.
Right.
So I get through that, and then Dick Williams, the guy who hooked me up to
The
get in,
lieutenant commander from before.
is now CO VT2 when I get down there. Yeah, and he and this other brother, the lieutenant, he had him for one of my instructors, but I had people that, some brothers that were there, a few of us, and the attrition rate for us was like awful, just on BS, man.
Right.
But anyway, that's another story. So I get through, go to come out, get my wings May 10th, go out to my squadron AC-1, and had 2 tours, right? Over the pond there, flew helicopters and spent time in country also. Flying with those guys.
And so this is now Vietnam.
Yeah. Yeah. So did that. And then after that, they sent me I'm supposed to go to be an instructor in the Fleet Replacement Squadron, the RAG, right? And I get a call from my detailer. The detailers don't call you, right?
No, they don't call you. They tell you.
They
tell you they don't call you.
Right. And he said, we're gonna have to change your orders for you. And I go, change your orders? I'm in the Philippines there. Go. So yeah, you're going to a minority recruiting. I go, minority recruiting? I'm supposed to be staying in San Diego, going to San Diego squadron, right?
Right.
So they sent me to Denver.
Well, they said that in the movie Maverick, that they're called orders for a reason.
They're not called suggestions.
They're not suggestions.
Or recommendations, right?
Right. That's right.
I'm kicking and screaming. One of the best things that ever happened to me. One of the best things, Matt, because I went there minority recruiting, and my skipper, the first skipper, told me he didn't have a job for me there, a place for me to stay, office.
Right.
So I called Lieutenant Commander or Commander Bob Tony. You know that name?
I do know about Tony. Wow. Admiral Tony? That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. He was my boss. So he was a commander and just made commander when I went up to DC from getting, after leave. And so he's my boss in DC. And so I went home. The guy said, so I called Commander Tony and I told him what happened. He said, "Oh, you stay home until I give you a call." We didn't have mobile phones then. It's snowing like you can't believe. It's like February 1st.
Right.
I've never been in that. So he calls me and said, "Go to work." I said, "What should I?" He said, "Just go to work." I said, "Yes, sir." So I go to work, go see the captain. He says, "Well, you're going to be in the XO's big office and blah, blah." I go to work, Matt, and it was a phenomenal tour. The first person I met was a lady named Renelda Muse.
Hmm.
Some of us old school will remember her from CNN. She was at the local TV station there as an anchor. And then when CNN started, she went down to Atlanta. She worked in Atlanta on CNN, Renelda Muse.
Wow.
So I saw this black woman on the news. I said, "I'm going to see her." So the next day I go down to the TV station. I said, "I'd like to see Miss Renelda Muse." And they said, "Who are you?" I said, "Well, I'm Navy Lieutenant Walton, blah, blah, blah." And they said, "Okay." She said, "Yeah, send him up." So they took me up to see her. And she says, "So what do you do?" I told her, "I'm a Navy pilot, blah, blah, blah." She says, "My best friend was married to a Navy flyer." I go like, "Really? What's your best friend's name?" And she said, "Erna." I said, "Clemmy?" She said, "Yeah." Well, he went to Miami of Ohio, and she went to Western, which is a part of the women's college across the street. And as it turns out, my granddaughter's roommate, so my granddaughter's roommate at Spelman, her grandfather was in the Navy also. They came out to spend 4 days with us last year, spring break, 5 days. And she said, "My granddaddy was in the Navy in San Diego in the 60s, late 60s. What's his name? Warren Foster." I said, "From Ohio?" He said,
The ties that bind. The ties that bind.
right. So we started something called the Amen Club. Okay.
The
Because
Amen Club?
yeah, Amen Society.
Okay.
So what happened is when I was in Denver, that's when we started NNOA. So I go back, Bob Tony, Norm Johnson, uh, uh, um, Ken Johnson. Oh, I mean, these guys put Zumwalt and everybody else on notice. These are
All right.
lieutenant commanders who made Admiral.
So Lynn, for the audience who may not these names, I want
Yeah.
you to research and Google, Commander Ken Johnson, another
Oh,
legend in Naval
yeah.
Aviation, single-handedly created the largest number of African Americans to ever go to the United States Naval Academy, class of 1977.
Buddy Penn. I met him on the boat. The first time I went to the carrier, I met Buddy, 68 December. We've been friends and mentors, right? Charlie Bolin. Charlie, we met when I was a lieutenant, and he was a first lieutenant. I was a Navy lieutenant. These are you tell young people who listen to this, tell me who your five are, and I'll tell you where you're going.
Lynn, say that again, because that is critical. I mean, as we drop in these names, it's not just to showcase kind of who we are, because when you first mentioned these names in 1968, these are just lieutenants and lieutenant commanders.
Oh, and first lieutenants in the Corps, right?
They haven't even reached.
No.
To
So
your point.
let me name my five for you.
Who's your five? Go with your five.
James W. Benton. He's BENT. He's a Court of Appeals judge now in Richmond, retired. We grew up in Sunday school together. I was his campaign manager for high school president, right? Class, Jimmy, right? Buddy J. Penn. We were lieutenant. I was a JG. He was a lieutenant. Okay. Charlie Bolin. I was a lieutenant He in the Navy. He was the first lieutenant in the Marine Corps.
But Secretary Penn, first Black acting Secretary of the Navy.
Yeah. Really.
Astronaut Charlie Bolden.
Yeah. Administrator, head of NASA.
Head of NASA.
Okay. All right. So you got Jimmy, um, um, Charlie, Buddy, Charlie, Andy. Okay.
Andy wins.
Right. Right.
My boss, Vice Admiral, U.S. Navy, Lockheed Martin International President for Military Sales, Naval Academy Distinguished Graduate, just an officer and a gentleman.
Right. And then Walt, man. Walt's been there with me forever.
And then
when I came out here, Walton Connie, right, in '68. Yes.
Yes. Walt, I mean, you got, Admiral Davis and Admiral Chambers, Great Eagles 1 and 2. This is
Commander Sam Gravely and Alma. We went to church together in San Diego.
So Lynn, if people want to know where they're going in life, all they have to do is look at their 5.
I tell them, you tell me who your 5. My mom and dad. My mom said this. We moved. We built a home in Virginia Beach. My parents did, and we moved from Norfolk because the community was changing, and it wasn't exactly gentrification, but their generation and their generation's kids were not taking care of their homes and that kind of thing, and losing homes, and so. That was an early phase, the earliest form of gentrification I saw. Okay, blacks losing home to blacks. But my parents talked about, who your closest friends are, and they'll determine your path in life, is what my parents would say. And I modified that to say for these young people today is show me your 5.
Show me your 5.
Also, for me, it's not what you say, it's what you do. So I was in a squadron. I was the number 1 lieutenant commander when I left my fleet squadron. My fleet squadron commander also became the fleet replacement squadron CO. I'm a junior lieutenant commander in my squadron. I was number 2 when I left my squadron. So junior lieutenant commander, right? Then I go to the RAG. I'm number 2. The XO is a lieutenant commander also. So in the words it says, XO, right? Actually, this first one was number 3. First one was non-observed, and then 3 of 13 XO and senior department head. I had FRAMP, fleet replacement, right? And G or nothing. And then I'm number 1. So I didn't screen for operational command. So Buddy Penn and Charlie Tompkins, who I've known since I was a freshman in college, he came down, brought me across Persian rifle from Virginia State to Norfolk State. So when I get to hear San Diego Charlie's here, I go, I know, man, right? Okay. I didn't even know he was in the Navy because we were Army ROTC. So what Buddy and Charlie did, Buddy was OOE, worked for the CNO, Chief of Naval Operations. Charlie worked for Chief of Naval Personnel. They took the last 5 records on the board that screened for command. Last 4, and my record, and took everything out of race out of it, and took it to Admiral Watkins and said, "Sir, when you can, would you rank order these 5 aviators?" And number 1 was Lynn Walton. Okay, all right. So in Buddy's book, which I have right here, he talks about Lynn Walton screening for. So the admiral said, "You're screening." Buddy and Charlie flew out here because I was at the War College, Naval War College at the time, and I was getting out. Period, because
right.
Family issues. Right, my wife had some medical stuff. I couldn't go back to sea. My family was my mental, physical, and spiritual self. My family, my career, and then the other stuff. And I let every one of my bosses know that. Right. The prioritization. My kid had a problem in school. I'm going to be there. It's the way it is. I did not have anyone that was my superior or my boss to say, that doesn't work. They all agreed. And so these guys got me screened for command, but I told them, hey, God works in mysterious ways. There's something else for me, and I'm doing that stuff now. As a side note, when I was in Denver playing on my community softball team, I saw these guys playing this sport, and so we went over. And I had grown. Now I was 15 as a senior in high school, all black high school. All the brothers who played ball. Right? I grew up playing with them, but I wasn't big enough for it. I was like, right. And same thing in college. I was 19, the second semester senior, so I was young, right? Hadn't developed. And when in the Navy, I started to develop physically, and it was rugby. And I said to my neighbor Don DePaulo, man, this cool dude taught me this ski, man. It was like I do a ski run he took me up. He was on the ski patrol up in Vail. So he's teaching me before the class. I go into class, and the guy told me to come down. I go down. He said, "Okay, you're in that group." I go, get over there. I go, what's this? He said, "Oh, you guys are advanced intermediate." I go.
You say, what? This is my first time doing this.
At the halfway point, we came back. We had lunch up at Manor Vale. He said, "Look, you black guys pissed me off." I said, "What?" He said, "This is your first time skiing." So anyway, Matt.
And Lynn, listen, you black guys piss me off. We gotta go to commercial, and then Lynn, I'm gonna bring you back for another episode because we got to talk rugby. We're gonna do a tribute to the founders, to the pioneers in aviation. I want to talk about Captain Charlie Tompkins. I want to make sure that we have his family on, you on.
Oh, Charlie and Karita. Our kids grew up, man, together. They here in San Diego.
That's it. It's
Sherilyn and
Carolyn and everybody. We're gonna have them all on. And then, sir, it's been such a treat having you on the show. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna go to final comments. And you've given us so many nuggets, whether you're a CEO or whether you're a college student, this conversation has nuggets for warriors. So we're going to go to a quick commercial and then I'm going to come back with the final words.
Okay.
Hi, STEM professionals. I'm Eric Price, Vice President of Recruitment and Training here for Career Communications Group. Our conferences have something for everyone. It doesn't matter who you are. Let's say, for example, you are a new college student, you need some soft skills to learn. Guess what? We can help you there. If you're an existing professional who's looking to rise up the corporate ladder, we got you covered. Our remarkable thought leaders will introduce you to out-of-the-box thinking, develop your existing professional skills, and expand your leadership skills. My name is Eric Price, and I'm Vice President of Recruitment and Training here at Career Communications Group, and you can contact me either by calling our headquarters office at 410-244-7101 or via email at eprice@ccgmag.com. And I look forward to hearing from you soon.
Hey, Matt, I got to mention one thing right quick. So in my first squadron, we had all pilots training, right? And then 1 hour would be something. And this guy talked about us investing our flight pay in the stock market. So after my first tour, I started learning, started investing. And I didn't know, made mistakes, and I finally kind of got it. And so our dollar cost average in the market, even today, right? Regularly, monthly goes in my Fidelity. And that's how you build your FU money.
Lynn, I am going to talk about that. Sir, you're coming back because that right there is critical.
Critical.
For those of you who are just tuning in and those of you who've been watching us, I've just had a fantastic conversation, a show by Warriors for Warriors with Commander Walton. There are 3 things that every CEO should know. And number 1 is, who are your top 5? Who are the 5 people in your life who are making a difference by name, by function, by job? This board of advisors can change. It will change throughout your lifetime. But whether you're a CEO or whether you're a 3rd grader or whether you're a parent, everyone needs a top 5. The other thing that we learned today on this show by Warriors for Warriors is what Lynn Walton's mother said to him. What does another person's hatred of you have to do with you achieving excellence? Absolutely nothing. Achieve excellence, fly high. And then the last thing, what he left us with is, where is your FU money? Are you investing today? If you want to know how to get your top 5, come to Becoming Everything You Are conference, February 13th through the 15th in Baltimore, Maryland. Join the ecosystem. If you want to have FU money and learn how to invest, learn how to achieve excellence, whether people like you or don't like you, come to Becoming Everything You Are. It is a conference where dreams come true. With that, we'll see you next week. Have a happy Thanksgiving and more to follow.
What if you could build your own city? A place where every child can find nurturing people to help them achieve their full potential. A place where every adult can access job training support. Where health education is abundant. Where social justice ruled the land. A place without limitations. Welcome. You have arrived at STEM City, USA. It is what every city should be. A safe and trusted community where you find people and resources to help you become everything you are and beyond. STEM City is unlike anything you have ever experienced. It is a digital twin of the world around you, only better. STEM City is about energy and soul renewal. It is more than a digital world. You can almost feel the power of live cultural events, music, and theater. STEM City promises a better future for children, with caring mentors and hands-on activities, with dedicated tutors to support our youth. STEM City is your passport to a healthy lifestyle, with weekly events addressing our community's many issues. STEM City is your financial well-being, with helpful information on wealth management, career advancement, job training, and so much more. STEM City is the community you deserve. It is the city where your dreams can come true. STEM City USA, a place in the sky that is accessible to all who reach for the stars.